ladies and gentlemen, a living legend, the talented, the beautiful, the handsome,
dynamic.
the young, Steven Tyler! Boston's own Steven Tyler.
Boston's own, yeah.
There's nothing like being in this city. When you land in Boston, coming from wherever, is there not just an energy that you feel flowing through your blood?
Aerosmith, we moved here like what? 71, 72 to get an apartment and live on Com Ave. And then I had a family and I down in Marshfield and so forth. And so this is home.
I was going to ask you about that because when you were super young, you were in New York, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Yonkers, New York, and the Bronx and stuff like that. New York boy. And the family had a resort called Traurico Lodge up in Sunapee. It was like, 20 beds, four cabins.
Oh.
And I grew up on that land.
Well, that's cool.
So I was New York City, apartment buildings, to the country.
So,
and I've actually spoke about this. They go, what's with the country record? Well, I grew up in Sunapee. There was 1,200 people in my town when I grew up.
Wow.
So
that's a far cry from New York City.
Far cry.
Yeah. So,
but that was summer, and then winter was New York. So I got
Right.
the best of both worlds.
You did. And then you came to Boston. Now, when you came to Boston, it was for your music career, right? You wanted to advance what was going on musically. What brought you here specifically?
Well, when I was in Yonkers and had bands in 69, 68, we were on a label called Columbia, and we were called the Boston Sound because Boston had, Jay Giles, and it was a happening place. So when I was up in Sunapee, I left all my bands in New York. I hitchhiked up to New England, New Hampshire.
Yeah. I bet that has a bunch of stories of its own, hitchhiking.
Oh, my God. I hitchhiked all the way from the end of Long Island to up there. Took me like 9 hours. But I got up there, and Joe had a band called the Jam Band. Had a place called the Barn that I played with all my other bands. And we just decided, I said I'd be the drummer at the time. And let's move to Boston. And Joe's mom had a bus and was going to get him an apartment, and the rest is history. Now, 1325 Com Ave has now got a plaque.
I was just going to say, you, was it a couple of years ago, went back to visit?
Yeah.
And you went to the basement where you guys used to rehearse.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was that just a million memories all at once coming back to you when you step into that place?
We actually set up outside the building, 1325, shut the street down and the T, and we played. And I turned around while we were 3 songs in and said, "You see that stoop right there? That's where Joe and I used to smoke joints all the time and wrote, 'We all live on the edge of town, where we all live in.'" But it was more West Campus 1. It was the girls' dorm that a guy that ran it at the time let us rehearse down there, and the rest is history.
And think about it. If you guys didn't have that time, that space to rehearse, if you weren't in Boston, if you weren't where you were at that moment, what would you be doing if you weren't doing this?
Tuning pianos.
Oh, yeah?
Who knows? God knows, right? Well, I'd be who knows?
It's weird to look at you without scarves hanging from the microphone. This is weird.
Well, does
anyone have a scarf?
Give me something, somebody.
Something. I don't care what it is. Hang a jacket.
Anything.
How did that get started? Was that like a superstition of yours? Was it good luck, or how did you start doing that?
We used to play. I used to play. We played every college in Massachusetts and a lot of clubs. Katie's, Katie's was called at the time, and we did 4 45-minute sets. Sweated, I was soaking wet, and I used to wear this shirt, and after 3 months of that, the shirt just turned into rags, and I would hang it, like as a rites of passage.
Yeah, sure.
On the mic stand. So, and one thing led to another.
So it was an accident. And the best tradition.
No, I did it on purpose.
Oh, you did it on purpose.
I just hung it on there because I went, hey,
No, but it was an accident that it became such a huge trademark of yours.
Yeah, after a while.
And now other people
Janis
are doing
Joplin,
it.
She had scarves, and later on, 10 years later, Madonna adopted that. But, I was a big fat hippie. Big skinny hippie.
I was going to say.
Yeah, 126 pounds.
Of twisted steel and sex appeal.
Yes.
Soaking wet.
To warp minds and twist values.
So, do you still have a house in Marshfield, or
I do.
You live in full-time in Nashville now?
No,
What's the
I
deal?
live there.
You do?
The kids are gone, but, I was just there. We spent 4 days rehearsing with the band.
Yeah.
It's a wonder I can still talk. We spent the last 3 days, 5, 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
going over some songs and new stuff and old stuff. And Joe Perry actually said, "You know what? I think we should learn that our country song you got out." Because "Love Is Your Name," and I went, "Wow."
Are you going to
for
be
you, Joe? Yeah.
You going to be singing that during?
Yeah, he said that. He said that. I love you, Joe.
If you don't know, in about less than 10 days, Aerosmith is going to be going a North American tour. 17 cities.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that feel? That's
feels,
so exciting.
I feel like a little. It's 2 months. I don't think we've ever done a 2-month tour.
Wow.
I've got at home on my wall. I've got the tickets from the Get a Grip tour and the Pump tour, and we were out for a year. So I mean, like,
this is
when I talk to guys in Nashville, they go, like Tim McGraw, and they go out for Friday, Saturday, Sunday's off, and Monday, and they're home for the whole week with the kids. And I look and I go, really, Faith? No wonder you guys are happily married after all these years. I would go out, rock and roll goes out,
and you wouldn't come back.
We'd never come back.
Wow, never come back. I love that.
In more ways than one.
I bet.
Oh yeah.
You want to get into that? You want to tell?
What?
So,
it's rock and roll is a good thing.
It is. It's a great thing. I mean, you're one of the best, if not the best, rocker of all time, and now getting into country, and you're rocking that. Transition. How does it feel to you? Does it feel different, or does it feel like you're doing the same thing, just maybe in a little different way?
I just do the same thing in a different way. My dad would always say, "Get off your high horse," and no, I don't think that country is about spurs, cowboy boots, and a porch. Porch, yeah. I grew up in Sunapee, as I said.
Right.
It's 1,200 people, so it's more of a country. Country's a feeling, It's a way of life. I had a party line. Our phone rang once. Next door neighbor was a mile away. I lived in the woods with my slingshot, my BB gun. I worked the fields. We took the guests on, hay rides and
all that fun stuff.
So it's more about knowing everyone in town. It's that and just having a different set of morals.
Well, that's what the porch represents.
It does.
It does.
I think so.
How long have you wanted to do country? What was the build up to this? When did you say, you know what, I'm doing this. I'm making an album.
A lot of crying. There was a time when I was so broken hearted. Love wasn't much.
Beautiful.
Of a friend of mine. That's very country-esque. And so it's more literal. Some of the rock, is more getting that chorus line and just shoving it down your throat. And
sure.
Train kept rolling all night long, or Dream On. It's like, so it's something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to do a solo record, but never had time. And I met Scott doing a fundraiser in L.A., and he comes over and introduces himself. I said, I always wanted to do a country record. He goes, well, I'm your guy.
And that was it.
That was it. I got new management, Larry Rudolph, who's in the hospital right now. Hey, Larry, I love you.
Get well soon, Larry.
Yep, and Rebecca, and just a new phase for me. And to not do that with Scott, after going down and rented a house for 4 months, and I've written with some of the greatest songwriters down there, not to write a country record, but to see what I could come up with. You never know. Writing songs isn't easy.
I can't imagine. I don't know where would you start?
You're pulling melodies out of thin air.
Right. You're making something out of nothing every time.
Yeah, and you're singing between the notes, and so but there's a lot of great guys down there, the Barlows and Hillary Lindsay Lee, Jaron Johnston and Chris DiStefano. Oh my God!
Now Lindsay Lee and Eric Pasley co-wrote your first single from this upcoming album.
Well, a great story. When I got down there, I sat with Marty Fredrickson, who owns Quad Studios, and we wrote Jaded. Hey, Jaded.
Oh, great song. Love that.
So I'm sitting with them, and I said, what songs haven't we finished? And we played them and listened, and that song was at the end. And he goes, do you remember that? I played in the round with Marty. I played Dream On. We did Jaded. And Lindsay Lee had a guitar, and she played this song, Love Is Your Name. And I heard it, and I went, whoa, hold on. I love that song. I want to do that on my country record. I want to do that on my record, whatever record. So I called them up and said, what's a big idea writing that? And don't leave me the last chorus or something to write.
That's why you're so amazing.
I don't care who wrote it. once I met them,
Yeah.
they're amazing people. But it's more about the song and how I fit right into that song.
Well, that's why you're amazing. You can hear that song, you get a feel for it, and you can hear yourself doing it, and it's amazing. It's a beautiful song. I can't think of anyone else doing it.
Well, I'm in a band called Loving Mary. Rebecca Lynn Howard sang the lead on that. So I said to Marty, take her off and let me sing the lead. And then the vocals were wrapped around it. It was very much, I don't want to say Mumford and Son. When it comes to me, maybe we call it Bumford and Son. Nice bum, how you from?
I like that, yeah.
Bumford and Son. And a little bit of me. And my dream would be to go to the, the dark side of Johnny Cash. And I wrote with, who are the other brothers? Warren Brothers. Oh, my God. These guys, out of their minds.
Yeah, out of their mind in a good way?
In the bestest of ways. I talked to Tim McGraw about him. He goes,
Yeah.
You know them? And I went, oh.
Do I know them?
I just wrote 3 songs with him. And so it's just great. I've been really lucky to get what I got.
The album, do you know what it's called yet? Is it going to be called Love Is Your
Nice
Name?
bum, where you from?
I like that.
I like that.
Let's make it that officially. I know you're going to be.
I don't know yet.
You're going to be finishing it right after your
yeah,
Aerosmith
I
tour.
just, Scott said, come down and let me sign you with Big Machine. And I said,
Scott Borchetta.
Scott Borchetta. I said, hold on, let me see what I get. And after two months, I got about 8 songs, and I got now 18 songs.
18 songs.
But I'm very pleased with it. I'm going to go record them after this 2-month Aerosmith tour, and I've just signed with Scott 5 weeks
This is
ago.
just the beginning. We'll see.
When I used to get 45, gee, am I talking too much?
No, not at all. I
Was
could
it the
listen,
coffee?
Can I tell you something? I could listen to you and your voice and just look at you all day. This is amazing.
See, he likes me.
I'm having an out-of-body experience.
And AJ Calvin here is so bummed that I talk and yak his ear off all the time.
How can you not love this?
See, that's what I tell you.
I would pay to
4
have
years of this horse.
I know you're busy and you got to get out of here in a couple minutes, but I do want to ask you, when you're in Boston, and I'm relatively new to the city, so you got to help me out here. What can't you miss when you're here? What are your favorite Boston hangouts? Or when I'm in the city, I got to go here.
Yikes. I live in
Marshfield,
Vegas, I call it.
Yeah. Okay.
Marsh Vegas, where, it's like,
Okay.
I mean, the snow was 16 feet anyway.
Well, I think it was here too, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's clubs, there's restaurants here.
Yeah. Well, there's so much to do. Can I ask you another question
Yeah,
about
sure.
in Boston?
Yeah.
There's 2 schools that you got honorary degrees from.
Ooh.
Did you know that?
Of course, I still have some cells left.
Yeah. UMass Boston.
I got sober in 88, so
Right.
I still have retained some memory.
Well, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Right, and Berkeley.
Yeah.
How do you get an honorary degree? I
know
don't
what?
have any degree. How do I get one of these?
I guess
things?
stick around long enough and I'll give you anything. But
That's amazing. That's a huge honor, though. I mean,
It's a
that's
huge honor.
in your
Listen,
home city. That's crazy.
every bit of it. It's like I was telling your boss here before that, I'm down in Nashville, and I can't believe, how much, I'm being taken in there, how much, I'm being loved as this rock guy coming in and doing country stuff. It could have been the other way around, and I'm just, I don't for a minute ever think that there isn't, a lot of, country it's its own little thing, it's not rock. And now I'm being held close to the chest there. And
Right.
I really appreciate it. And being an Aerosmith and what that's given me a voice, in my life, I'm so honored. Berkeley, it's crazy, right?
It's amazing.
It's
Berkeley.
and then the other one, what's the other college?
UMass Boston.
Yeah. I mean,
Great school.
I wore the hat and everything. It was like crazy good.
I got to pull up footage of that. I got to see that. Dun, 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 Steven
Oh,
Tyler's
yeah.
walking down. Talking about being embraced by the country community. Did you see this video of Lady Antebellum, Hunter Hayes, and Sam Hunt? They're on tour together.
I did.
And they came out on stage, all of them singing "Walk This Way."
I so did.
I mean, if that's not an honor right there.
It is. When I did Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Mark Chestnut. He recorded it like 2 months after we did, and it was a #1 hit country. So it's not so much I'm coming down to defile country with rock and roll.
No.
It's that if you've got a song in your heart and you think it's any good, and it's a risk. Hey, it was a risk taking Idol. I thought to myself, would Bob Dylan do Idol? I wasn't sure, is that a cool thing to do?
A lot of people were asking what Aerosmith thought of that, but
They didn't like it, but they took Aerosmith's, on
the YouTube
200% sales.
Okay.
Our sales up. So and they also got to see another side of me. It wasn't this side. It was me front and center, looking at J-Lo's butt.
I did hear that. I did hear
With
that
Randy.
you admitted that you had the hots for
the
J-Lo.
hots for her big.
You were great on Idol. Great judge and just a great personality. And maybe we'll see more of you on TV.
You know what? I hope so.
I hope so too.
I'm not. I like that sort of thing. But first, this country record.
Yeah.
I think it's coming out more. Can I put a bunch of banjos and slide on these songs? I think my job will be that if I think I got the songs, which I do, to pull it back and do it thinner than more. Less is more here.
Right.
And I've got some I'm going to play you in a minute that you're going to freak. It's just the demos. I listened back, like I said.
Not air ready?
I can't do it on
All right.
No.
Eventually.
I got some stuff.
I bet you do. I can't wait to hear the whole thing because it's great.
Crazy.
Solo album. It's you. It's 100% you. And that's
It is. And
great to
other writers.
Well, of
I
course.
sit in a room and I throw in and they throw in, and next thing you know, we got something.
All right. Well, look. I'm sure you have a lot of promoting to do.
Yeah.
You have a lot of rehearsing to do for the Aerosmith tour.
Yeah.
And you took some time to come here. And for that, I'm grateful.
Mm-hmm.
This is amazing to be sitting across from you and to talk to you. You're a great guy, and obviously, we can't wait to hear the rest of what's going to be on this album.
I can't wait for you to play it either.
And welcome home to Boston.
Hey, thank you, man.
Steven Tyler, everybody. Make some
Right.
noise for Steven!
It's good to be home.
Should I try that? It's good to be home.
Nice.
I'll leave that to you. That's
All right.
crazy. All right, Steven Tyler, everybody. Country
Hey.
102.5. Thank you.
Thank
Steven.
you. Thank you. Thank you.